Since the beginning of this year, the right has wanted to know who is it that shot Ashli Babbit. Well, apparently they're about to find out. The police officer who fatally shot Ashli Babbit, who took part in the pro-Trump invasion of the US Capitol, will reveal his identity for the first time in a televised interview set to air Thursday evening. So just later on today, the mystery will finally be solved. So if you're not familiar with this and why the right cares so much, let's go through the history. Babbitt was part of a mob of Trump supporters who stormed the Capitol, tried to climb through an opening in a broken glass door outside the speaker's lobby, which leads to the House chamber. The officer who was inside the lobby drew his service pistol and shot Babbitt once in the left shoulder, causing her to fall backward onto the floor. She was transported to Washington Hospital Center, where she died. And so she has been lifted up by the right as a martyr who was killed, like, depends on who you talk to and when, by a member of Pence's security detail or Antifa, or it was a false flag or whatever. Personally, I think the reality is dark enough that a member of the Capitol Police shot and killed someone. That seems bad without adding in, aliens and lizard people and stuff like that. But anyway, Viviana, he is going to have this interview. It's with Lester Holt, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time, set to air just 3 days after the US Capitol Police Department announced that it would not discipline the officer following an internal investigation. The DOJ also previously said it would not pursue criminal charges against the officer, who at that point their identity had not been disclosed. So we're gonna have an interview. There's no charges, at least as of right now. We'll talk about a few other potential cases, but what do you think about this decision?
The decision to not charge him, or the decision for Lester Holt to interview him? I mean, I'm glad he didn't get charged. Yeah, I'm glad he didn't get charged. I think it's pretty expected that if you storm a government building, you're gonna probably get hurt in some way. I've said before that I think that this woman and many of the QAnon supporters that were there on January 6th are or were suffering from some sort of mental delusion, some sort of illness where they went along with this group ideology and putting themselves in danger. I mean, you have to really be kind of a little bit off to think that nothing's gonna happen to you when you do it, or unless they were fed information that we are still trying to find out. They were told that nothing would happen to them. The fact that Lester is going to be interviewing this officer, I think, is interesting because we don't hear interviews with officers who are involved in these kinds of fatal shootings all the time. So why this one in particular? I think it's also dangerous for the officer to come forward. So that's a concern for me as well.
Yeah. So look, there's a few different areas of this that I'm interested in. One is, obviously, this cop, at least for the next few years, is gonna have to worry about some crazy right winger murdering them to avenge Ashli Babbit, who they didn't know and don't know anything about. And so the obvious follow-up question is, so why? Why come out and do this? Well, look, obviously there's potential that it's a money thing or whatever, but I also think it could be that if they have reason to believe that the identity is about to be revealed anyway, why not at least be the one to do it with an interview rather than just having it be, like the opening monologue on Tucker Carlson, or that once the actual commission, the hearings proceed in the House, that as a result of whatever, either just the normal process or right-wing representatives, they might reveal his name. So again, maybe it's like taking control of the timing and the narrative. But no matter what, like after this cop obviously is going to have security. Like,
yeah,
the right is out of their mind and is desperate to kill this person. And if they do, Trump is gonna put out some statement about how, people get mad, it's justified. Like I know, like it's such a dark time when it comes to political violence. So I don't know.
It is. I think a lot of these Capitol Police officers have tried to come forward to sort of plead with the public, like, hey, especially these Blue Lives Matter people, like that's what you're all about, right? So they've come forward and been like, we were scared, we were this, and no one cared. Is this interview gonna make a difference for the extreme right? Are they gonna have sympathy for this man who took the life of a woman because he was doing his job? I don't like to see violence from police officers across the board, but there are some times when you can kind of understand how it happened. I think we'll be talking about a case situation later on where you don't understand. And so this is, I think it's important to talk about. I'm glad you're bringing it to light here on your show, John. I just hope there are some people listening who actually see that these cops were, not supported. These Capitol Police officers weren't given the proper support, the people behind them, the weaponry, whatever they needed to protect themselves. It was sort of taken away for some reason. We're going to find out more, I'm sure, as time goes on. But my condolences to those who knew Ashli Babbit. Honestly, I mean, I'm sure you guys are feeling her loss. She sounded like she was a really productive woman. She went down this QAnon pathway like many people have, and it has caused her a lot of pain and suffering. Obviously, it's cost her life, but a lot of pain and suffering for those around her. Yeah. And a lot of other people who have chosen this path are having all kinds of issues. They're really angry inside, and they're not finding that resolution. So let's hope they don't have another January 6th situation.
Yeah, and I feel bad again, but I feel like Ashli Babbit didn't need to die, and she died because why? Because Newsmax wanted Mike Lindell to advertise pillows on there, and Tucker Carlson wanted to get you all worked up. It was a whole bunch of grift. They wanted views, they wanted money, so they drove people crazy to get it.
I guarantee that Ashli Babbit was watching the uprising last summer and saying that those people should have been shot. I guarantee she was watching that footage of people just breaking windows of a Patagonia store and saying that they should be shot and they should be this and that. But she thinks, and others thought, that they would be totally fine to bust into the Capitol, being violent, holding weapons. I mean, with a plan like tactical gear. So there's a disconnect and we already know there's a major disconnect with these QAnon people.
Yeah, and by the way, you mentioned this too. Like one of the reasons I don't like this interview is, like, so far as I have seen with the limited information we have about the actual shooting, the cop doesn't appear to have done anything wrong. But that said, I have no interest in a primetime glorification of a cop killing someone. Like our country already does way too much of that and assumes that they're always right and couldn't have done anything else. And so whether that might be accurate in this particular case or not, I do not want our country like all coming together and be like, yeah, sometimes cops have to kill people. Let's bear that in mind for next time. I'm not interested in that. And so I don't like any part of this. I don't like the threats that will come the cops' way. I'm not interested in the cops' identity. Ashli Babbit shouldn't have been there, and I don't like glorifying police violence.
I agree 100%.
Whatever.
You're absolutely right, and I do think that there are things that they could have done They could have thrown, tear gas. They could have done some stuff. I don't know what was going on in this officer's mind, but I don't think it needs to be glorified. Or, if he's getting paid to do it, I get it. We live under capitalism, and we're gonna have to sort of figure it out amongst this system. But
which I'm guessing not. It doesn't see. Is it impossible? No, but
he got paid.
Yeah, I don't know. I would expect.
Or he's got a book deal. He's got something to push, John.
Sure. Yeah, that's a possibility.
We didn't mention that. So his publisher was like, "Why don't you go on Lester Holt, and then people know who you are, and then they're gonna."
That's true. Well, you only have to wait about 4 hours to find out, actually. For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.